Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Connecticut Department of Transportation and the town of Weston, I would like to welcome you all for attending this public informational meeting for State Project number 157-088, replacement of bridge number 07001, located on Michael's Way over the west branch of the Saugatuck River in the town of Weston. My name is Preeti Bardwaj, and I am the project manager assigned to this project. We appreciate your willingness to participate in this forum virtually, and we hope that you will find this meeting both interesting and informative. I would now like to go over some of the goals and format for tonight's meeting. I will be explaining how you will be able to interact with the project team. I will be explaining how this project is funded with the Federal Local Bridge DMS or Design Managed by the State program. We will then have some welcoming remarks from the town of Weston. I will be introducing the project design team, which includes the department's front office leadership, the department's design team, and our consultant liaison engineer team. This will then be followed with a technical presentation of the design, which will include the condition of the existing structure, purpose and need for the project, and the recommended design solution, which has progressed to a 30% design completion. As part of the department's public outreach program, it is at this point now that we are reaching out to you, the public, while it is still early in the design process, to receive any comments or concerns and answer any additional questions you may have. We also have a representative from the department's right-of-way unit to explain the rights-of-way process. And lastly, we will have a live question and answer session. I will now explain how you will be able to interact with the project team. There are three means of how you will be able to communicate. The first is by email, which is dot.flbp@ct.gov, and I will spell that out. It is dot.flbp@ct.gov. You can also phone in. The telephone number is 860-944-1111. Again, that phone number is 860-944-1111. Or you can also use the chat function on the MS Teams live event chat. In this format, you can ask a question by clicking on the little question mark, which shows Q&A. This will bring up your live event Q&A field. Select the Ask a Question button at the bottom right screen and a field will pop up. And you can type your question and hit either Enter with a little arrow mark to send, or you can also check the box on the bottom to post your question anonymously if you prefer. There will be a slight delay, but eventually your question will appear in the featured section with all other questions that are asked tonight. The project email, phone, and chat will then be screened by the project design team during the Q&A session, and the questions asked by any of these methods will be posted to the MS Teams Q&A chat window. The questions will then be asked out loud for the project team to answer. You can ask questions at any time during the presentation, but we will answer these questions during the live Q&A session that follows. We also have a project webpage link where the recording of tonight's entire presentation, including the Q&A session, will be stored. The webpage will also contain the same information that I have previously explained on how to provide comments and ask questions. And that project webpage is portal.ct.gov/DOT Weston 157-88. And I will also spell that out. It is portal.ct.gov/DOT WESTON 157-88. And lastly, please remember that the comment period to ask questions or provide comments will be open through February 9th, 2022, via either email or telephone. So if you think of a question after tonight's meeting or want to expand on a question asked tonight, you will have February 9th to do so. The MS Teams chat function is only available during tonight's live Q&A session. We would greatly appreciate it if you could fill out a brief survey the department has on the link shown. This will help us improve these meetings going forward. Both the links to the survey and civil rights flyer are also located on the previously mentioned project webpage. I would also like to state that as part of the Title VI Civil Rights Act, that no person shall, on the basis of race, color, or national origin, be excluded from participation or subject to discrimination in the development of this project. I will now explain how this project is being funded. This is a town-owned bridge and is being funded under the department's Federal Local Bridge Program. Traditionally in this program, the town selects a designer, and because federal funds are involved, the department is considered to be stewards of those federal funds. The funding is traditionally 80% federal and 20% town for the design, rights-of-way, and construction phases of the project. However, this project will be funded under the department's DMS, or Design Managed by the State program. In this program, it will be the department who will be performing the design on behalf of the municipality, utilizing our consultant liaison engineers, who are BL companies. BL has completed the 30% preliminary design, and it will be brought to final design completion by one of our pre-selected task-based designers. In addition, it will now be funded with 80% federal and 20% state funds for the design phase only. So the entire design phase is at zero cost to the town of Weston. Although the preliminary design was performed by the department, it was in full coordination with both of the towns. We have held several meetings and worked diligently together to incorporate the town's comments and concerns. The initiative behind the DMS program was to expedite design delivery and bring these projects to construction quicker and keep our municipal bridges in a perennial state of good repair. The DMS program is utilizing your state and municipal dollars both efficiently and effectively. And with that, I would now like to hand it over to Mr. John Louise, Town Administrator, for some welcoming remarks.
Hello, this is Weston Town Administrator Jonathan Louise. Thank you for listening and/or viewing this public information meeting on the subject of the Michaels Way Bridge Project. The Weston Board of Selectmen wants members of the public to be well informed of this project. With that being said, I would like to provide some background information about how this project has come to be. As you may know, the state of Connecticut Department of Transportation routinely performs bridge inspections on bridges located on local roads in towns and cities across the state of Connecticut. In fact, the Department of Transportation had the bridge on Michaels Way inspected in January of 2019. Shortly after that inspection, the town of Weston received an inspection report. The report revealed that certain aspects of the bridge's structure had experienced significant wear. The information in the report was concerning. Following a review of the report and an inspection of the bridge by the town's public works director, the town hired a Connecticut-based engineering firm to independently examine the report and the bridge. That engineering firm confirmed the accuracy of the state's inspection report and also provided assurances that the bridge in its state could continue to be used by the public. Shortly thereafter, the town submitted to the state of Connecticut Department of Transportation a preliminary application for participation in what is called the Federal Local Bridge Program. That program normally provides for the municipality in Connecticut to receive an 80% reimbursement on design and construction costs. In this case, the 80% reimbursement on bridge construction costs will apply. However, the state has offered to manage and pay for 100% of the design costs on this bridge project. The town has willingly accepted the State Department of Transportation's offer to handle the design aspect of this project, as we have confidence that the design opinions of Weston residents and Weston officials will be given due consideration along the way. Thus far, the state has done an excellent job of communicating with the town information concerning engineering findings and design. The town is optimistic that the Federal Local Bridge Program will result in the town of Weston getting a bridge that is both of sound design and at an excellent net cost to the Weston taxpayer. The town is committed to seeing the project through to completion with reasonable impacts to local traffic. Your questions and suggestions concerning this project are most welcome. Thank you for attending tonight's public information meeting. After the meeting, please feel free at any time to reach out to me directly with any questions that you may have about the project. My office number is 202-222-2677, and my email address is jluiz@westonct.gov. Thank you.
I would now like to introduce the project team. I am Preeti Bardwaj, the project manager. To my left are Mr. Bart Sweeney, Division Chief of Bridges, and Mr. Lou Baccio, Principal Engineer. We also have present from the department Mr. Mark Burns, Project Engineer, and Mr. Dennis McDonald, Rights-of-Way Coordinator. The consultant liaison engineers are BL companies, and from BL we have Mr. Stephen Frazier and Mr. Sean Ladowdy. So ladies and gentlemen, we are finally ready to present our technical portion of the presentation, and you will be hearing a lot of bridge lingo throughout the presentation. Therefore, I am about to give you a 2-minute crash course on some of the structural elements on a bridge and the numerical condition rating system assigned on a bridge. On the diagram shown, the deck is the riding surface of the bridge. The parapets, or sometimes we can also have an open rail system, they help prevent errant vehicles from going off the bridge. The beams or the girders are the supporting structural elements on a bridge and are designed to support vehicular loads, the self-weight of the bridge, and any environmental loads such as wind, seismic, etc. The parapets, the deck, and the beams make up what is known as the superstructure of a bridge. The abutments, wing walls, are the end supports of a bridge, and the piers, if there are any, are the intermediate supports. The abutments, wing walls, and piers make up what is known as the substructure of a bridge. The substructure not only supports the superstructure, but also helps in transmitting loads from the superstructure down to the bridge foundations. All state bridges and town bridges over 20 feet in length are inspected every 2 years by the department's Bridge Safety and Evaluation Unit and are assigned a condition rating on the major structural elements on a scale of 1 through 9, with 9 being excellent condition and 1 being imminent failure condition. When a major bridge element reaches a 4 or poor condition, that is when we start to initiate a project to address the structural deficiencies. Now that you are armed with basic bridge knowledge, I would now like to turn it over to Mr. Sean Ladowdy, who will be presenting the technical portion of the presentation.
Thank you, Preeti. Good evening. My name is Sean Ladati, and I will be presenting the technical portion of tonight's presentation of Bridge 07001, Michael's Way over West Branch Saugatuck River in Weston, Connecticut. Here is a map of the project site. The bridge is located less than 0.1 miles west of the intersection of Michael's Way and State Route 53, Newtown Turnpike. Here is an aerial view of the project site showing Michael's Way, State Route 53, and West Branch Saugatuck River. This slide depicts a plan view of the existing bridge. The West Branch Saugatuck River is shown in blue, and the existing bridge is shown in orange. The existing structure was built in 1995 and is comprised of a timber deck with a bituminous concrete wearing surface, supported by 6 steel rolled beams on pile-supported abutments. The bridge has a 60-foot clear span. The average daily traffic, or ADT, along Michael's Way is approximately 208 vehicles. This is based on the 2020 Connecticut DOT traffic log. A 2-inch gas main is located under the southern side of the roadway, and 4 4-inch conduits containing telecommunications and electrical facilities are located under the northern side. There are no aerial utilities located on this project site. This slide depicts a typical section of the existing structure. A typical section shows a view of the bridge as if the bridge was sliced like a piece of cake at the center of the structure. The superstructure is a timber deck supported by 6 steel rolled beams and is shown here in orange. The existing pavement section is shown in yellow and the bridge rail is shown in green. You can see Michael's Way carries 1 lane of traffic in each direction and consists of 2 11-foot travel lanes. The curb-to-curb width is 22 feet. There are no striped shoulders along Michael's Way. There are 4-foot wide sidewalks shown in blue located on both sides of the bridge, but are not present along the roadway. This slide depicts the downstream elevation of the existing bridge. This image portrays the view from staying downstream of the structure looking back upstream towards the structure. For reference, State Route 53 is to the right. The existing bridge has an overall structural length of 65 feet and has a span length of 60 feet. The existing structure is not hydraulically adequate. The Connecticut DOT Drainage Manual classifies the existing bridge as an intermediate structure with a 100-year design storm event and a 500-year check storm event. For the 100-year design storm event, hydraulically adequate intermediate structures provide 1 foot of freeboard to the low point of the roadway and 1 foot of underclearance below the bridge low chord. The existing structure provides 3.6 feet of freeboard but does not provide any underclearance. The water surface elevation matches the existing low chord elevation. This slide shows the project area at street level. In the photo on the left, we are looking east on Michael's Way from the western approach. In the photo on the right, we are looking west from the eastern approach. This slide shows photos of the existing condition of the structure. The photo on the left shows a view of the underside of the superstructure. The photo on the right shows a view of the eastern abutment. This slide shows additional photos of the existing condition of the structure. The photo on the left depicts a typical stone-faced wing wall. The photo on the right is a view from the watercourse under the bridge looking downstream. The purpose of this project is to address the poor conditions of the existing bridge and return the structure to a satisfactory rating. The latest inspection report dated February 20, 2020 classifies the structure in poor condition due to the superstructure. The superstructure was rated a 4, primarily due to the condition of the steel beams. The protective coating on the beams is no longer present in most locations, with heavy rust covering approximately 75% of the beam surfaces. Locations of laminate rust with areas of section loss were observed along the beam webs and flanges. Examples of the rust, protective coating loss, and section loss are shown in the photos to the right. The existing condition of the deck is in good condition and the supported abutments are in satisfactory condition. The bridge is currently posted for a weight restriction of 27 tons. A soil boring program and geophysical analysis were performed to determine the subsurface soil conditions, approximate location of the existing bottom of piles, and to determine if the existing substructure could support a new superstructure. Based on the initial findings, it was determined the existing substructure cannot be reused based on the anticipated loads of the proposed superstructures. Rehabilitation or superstructure replacement alternatives were not further investigated. This slide depicts a plan view of the proposed structure. The proposed replacement, shown here in orange, consists of replacing the existing structure in its entirety in the same approximate location as the existing structure. The proposed structure will consist of a steel beam superstructure on pile-supported integral abutments. The bridge replacement will require approximately 230 feet of full-depth roadway reconstruction along Michael's Way and is shown here in yellow. The existing horizontal alignment and curb-to-curb width of Michael's Way will be maintained. The existing bituminous concrete curbing and timber guide rail will be removed, and new bituminous concrete curbing will be installed. New steel-backed timber guide rail will be installed along both sides of the eastern approach and along the southern side of the western approach. The right-of-way impacts are shown as plain in red. They are located here, here, and then also here. It is anticipated that 2 construction easements are required to accommodate construction and water handling activities. It is also anticipated a drainage right-of-way will be required for the existing storm drainage outlet to the east of the bridge. The existing telecommunication and electrical conduits located along the northern side of Michael Way are shown here. These will be temporarily supported and protective during construction and will be reattached to the new superstructure. The existing gas main located along the southern side of Michael's Way is shown here. This will also be temporarily supported and protective during construction and will be reattached to the superstructure. This slide depicts a typical section of the proposed structure. The steel beams will be topped with an 8.5-inch shear slab, shown here in orange. The shear slab will be topped with a waterproofing membrane and 3 inches bituminous wearing surface, shown here in yellow. As previously noted, the curb-to-curb width will be maintained. The roadway width will accommodate 11-foot travel lane in each direction with no striped shoulders. On either side of the bridge, there will be a 5-foot wide sidewalk, shown in blue, and a 42-inch tall open bridge rail, shown in green. The next slide is an elevation view of the proposed structure. The proposed structure will maintain the existing span length of 60 feet and will be hydraulically adequate. The proposed structure provides a minimum of 1 foot of underclearance to the low chord. The vertical profile of Michael's Way will be raised approximately 6 inches to improve the hydraulics at the bridge. The vertical curves at the eastern and western approach will be reconstructed to meet current design criteria for crest and sag curves. This slide shows photos of the proposed bridge aesthetics. Across the bridge, 4-tube open bridge rail will be flanked by concrete end blocks. An example of the open bridge rail can be seen in the photo on the left. Steel-backed timber guide rail will provide protection along 3 sides of the approaches. An example of the guide rail can be seen in the photo on the right. This slide depicts examples of different methods to provide a stone appearance at the concrete end blocks. The photo on the left is an example of stone cladding, which utilizes real stone and mortar for the facade. The photo on the right is an example of concrete form liner. This allows for the appearance of real stone with reduced cost and future maintenance. The selection of the material at the end blocks will be determined by discussions this evening and in future coordinations with the town. This slide depicts the maintenance and protection of traffic. Due to the narrow width of the existing bridge, Michael's Way will be closed at the bridge for the duration of construction. Access to all driveways within the project limits will be maintained at all times. The nearest driveway is located approximately 150 feet east of the road closure and is shown here. This slide shows the proposed detour route in red. Traffic will be detoured around the work area by using Newtown Turnpike, West Godfrey Road, and Orchard Drive. The detour length is approximately 2.24 miles and is anticipated to have a 4-month duration. Emergency services, the post office, and the school district will be coordinated with during design so they can plan accordingly prior to the start of the detour. As previously mentioned, the utility impacts include temporary support and protection of the existing telecommunication conduits, electrical conduits, and gas main. These will be reattached to the new structure. BL companies will coordinate with all utility companies throughout design and construction. There will be environmental permits due to the impacts to the inland wetlands in the West Branch Saugatuck River watercourse. The anticipated permits of the United States Army Corps of Engineers self-verification, Town of Weston Inland Wetlands Permit, Connecticut DOT Flood Management Certification Memorandum of Understanding. The anticipated right-of-way impacts include 2 construction easements that are required to accommodate construction and water handling activities, 1 drainage right-of-way, and 2 rights to grade. I will now pass it off to Dennis to to explain the right-of-way acquisition process.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dennis McDonald, and I'm a representative from the Connecticut Department of Transportation, Division of Rights-of-Way. I'm just going to provide a brief overview of the right-of-way process. So the function of the Division of Rights-of-Way is to acquire all property and property rights necessary for the project. This is done in accordance with Connecticut General Statute Section 13A73, 13A90AE, and the Uniform Relocation Assistance and Real Property Acquisition Policies Act of 1970 as amended. Your typical right-of-way impacts include partial acquisitions, easements, and rights. Impacts are subject to change as the design progresses, but this gives a general idea of typical property impacts. Once property impacts have been established, each impacted property owner will receive a letter of intent to acquire along with a property acquisition map. The letter essentially initiates the right-of-way process, and the map provides a detailed overview of the specific right-of-way impacts. Soon after the letter is received, valuation process will take place, and once a value has been established, each impacted property owner will receive a written offer of compensation. Property owners will be given time to consider the offer and negotiate should they wish. If an agreement is reached, an acceptance document will be signed, and a closing will take place at a later date. If an agreement is not reached for whatever reason, the state will utilize its power of eminent domain and acquire the property rights through the condemnation process. Now, I understand this has a negative connotation, but many times this is done to keep a project on schedule. If the state elects to pursue eminent domain, the original offer is deposited in the court system, and property owners can continue negotiations or file a formal appeal for a reassessment of damages through the court system. Please note all appeals must be filed within 6 months from the date in which the state files for eminent domain. And that is all I have for tonight. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Dennis. This next slide shows our estimated construction cost and schedule. We are currently estimating a construction cost of approximately $2.95 million, which will be paid for with 80% federal and 20% municipal funds. At this time, we anticipate construction to begin in the fall 2023 and be completed by the fall 2024. Although construction is anticipated to start in the fall 2023, the detour is not anticipated to start until the spring of 2024, and Michael's Way will be reopened in approximately 4 months. This schedule is preliminary and predicated upon the availability of funding.
Thank you, Sean, and that, ladies and gentlemen, concludes our technical portion of the presentation. I would like to thank everyone on my design team and everyone behind the scenes who helped put this live event together. We are going to leave the Q&A session information on the screen for your benefit, and we will be answering any questions that came in during the presentation and answer any questions that will come in during this live Q&A session. Once again, we would like to remind everyone to please visit the project website to participate in the survey pertaining to tonight's event, or ask additional questions, or view project plans and information. For those of you listening on the phone, the project webpage is again portal.ct.gov/DOT Weston 157-88. So with that, we are now going to start the live question and answer session. We will take as many questions as we can. Feel free to use that chat feature or call in by phone. The number is again 860-944-1111, or by email. The address is again dot.flbp@ct.gov. And once again, the comment period will be open until February 9th, 2022.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it looks like we have some questions that came in, and I will start by reading the first question out loud. And the first question is, where will the contractor place his equipment? And can I have Sean from BL Companies please take this question?
Yes, thank you, Brady. This is Sean Adati with BL Companies. The contractor will be placing his equipment at the approaches of the bridges since the roadway will be closed during construction and traffic will be detoured.
Okay, thank you very much, Sean. Next question. What are the paving limits? Sean, can you please take this question?
Yes. Again, this is Sean Dottie with BL. The bridge replacement will require approximately 230 feet of full depth roadway reconstruction along Michael's Way. I could show you I'll pull up the plan view. And they're shown here in yellow. The area with the hatching to the left is an area of mill and overlay.
Okay. Thank you very much, Sean. Next question. Can stage construction be used instead? Sean, can you please address this question as well?
Yes. Due to the narrow width of Michael's Way, stage construction is not feasible for this location, so a detour will be required for construction.
Thank you, Sean. Next question. Will mail delivery be impacted, and how will EMS be coordinated? Sean, can you please take this question?
Yes, the bridge replacement, for the bridge replacement, the post office, emergency services, and the school district will be notified of the detour, construction schedule, and proposed route, so they can plan accordingly prior to the start of the detour.
Thank you, Sean. Next question. Why was the scope changed from a superstructure replacement to a full bridge replacement? Sean, can you please take this question as well?
Yeah, so the project was originally scoped as a superstructure replacement due to the poor rating of the steel beams. During the preliminary design, the soil boring program and a geophysical analysis were performed to determine if the existing substructure could support a new superstructure. Based on those initial findings, it was determined the existing substructure cannot be reused based on the anticipated loads of the proposed superstructures. After these findings, a rehabilitation and superstructure replacement were not further investigated. The original scope change was presented to the town's Board of Finance and Selectmen in December 2020. At that time, a very preliminary cost and schedule were presented based on similar superstructure or similar full replacement projects. And then now, as being presented tonight, the cost and schedule is being presented based on the final preliminary design.
Okay, thank you, Sean. Next question, will there be advance warning of road closure? Sean, can you please take this question?
Yes, the contractor will be required by contract to post construction signs with the advance warning of the road closure. We will also be coordinating with the town to keep the public informed of the construction and detour schedule as the design progresses and construction starts.
And this is Steve Frazier. Just wanted to jump in. Steve Frazier from BL regarding the advanced warning signage. We'll be sure to the design will accommodate placing those signs in a way that people who are driving along any of the roads will see them with enough notice so that they don't need to turn around in people's yards. That's the whole intent, is to allow them enough notice where they can turn around properly either in a cul-de-sac or further down the road.
Okay, thank you for adding that, Steve. Next question. How do they decide on stone or cheaper alternatives? Shouldn't it maintain the original look? Can I have Sean weigh in on that question, and if the town would also like to weigh in as well?
Yeah, so currently what is being proposed is a stone facade, which is currently on the existing bridge as well. So we are ultimately leaving it to the town's decision if to go with the stone cladding versus the concrete form liner. Both have pluses and minuses, and would have the same similar appearance as what was currently on the bridge.
John Louise, I don't know if you can hear me or not, but would you like to weigh in on that as well?
Yeah, this is Jonathan Louise. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Thank you. I think the town certainly is going to go with the recommendations of the engineer because first and foremost, we are concerned with safety. We want something that's going to protect, you know, in terms of anyone driving, maybe into an accident, or we want to, we also want to make sure that, you know, keeping the bridge together as soundly as possible. So safety is first and foremost, along with longevity. However, we realize that sometimes, you know, we can fit in aesthetic changes too and not compromise any of those top priorities. So we're open to any suggestions that the public has to see if they're feasible and see if we can fit them in a way that doesn't jeopardize our other top priorities.
Thank you very much. Next question. The following email question was asked: what hours or days of the week is construction allowed? Sean, do you want to take this question?
Yeah, typically we set the hours based on town requirements. So we'll be working with the town and residents to set hours for the contractor to work. Typically, night work is not allowed and weekends.
And this is Steve Frazier from BL, jump in and add to that typically during the day, work starts around 9 o'clock in the morning and ends around 3. And those hours are set by the contract and set during design, and obviously, as Sean mentioned, in coordination with the town.
Okay, thank you very much. Next question. The following email question was asked: what utilities could be affected and how and with how much notice will be notified if utilities are impacted? Sean, would you like to take this question?
Yes, utilities are not anticipated to be impacted for the residents. They are anticipated to be temporarily supported and protected in place during construction and then reattached to the new superstructure once construction is completed. A preliminary meeting has already occurred with the utility companies, and they are on concurring with our proposed temporary support and protection. As the design progresses, we will continue our coordination with the utility companies and keep them informed of any design changes.
Thank you. Next question. There are no sidewalks on Michael's Way, or in fact anywhere in the town of Weston. Some of the bridges pictured in your presentation do not have sidewalks. Would it not reduce cost and environmental impacts to omit the sidewalks from the design? Sean, do you want to take this question?
Yes, we were working to match the existing bridge, which has the sidewalks. Typically, when a bridge has sidewalks, we tend to keep the sidewalks there in a sense to future-proof. We are minimizing our environmental impact on this project by reducing or eliminating any in-water work, and we are maintaining approximately the same footprint as the existing bridge.
Okay, thank you. The following email question was asked: how will snow plowing work? Is there a runoff plan in the event of storms and the street is blocked? Sean, do you want to take this question? And does the town want to weigh in on this at all?
Yeah, I could start. So the contractor will be required to do any snow clearing on the project site, and then we will also be coordinating with the town for the plowing of Michael's Way itself. So this will be coordinated during design. The roadway closure is anticipated to be in the spring of 2024, and then be reopened up 4 months after. So the road closure should not occur during that time.
I have nothing to add except just want to emphasize that in the event, you know, there is a snow issue, the contractor's taking care of it. We'd be happy to coordinate with them in order to, you know, sometimes you get big snowstorms, very big snowstorms. So we'd be happy to coordinate if, you know, for example, we need to pick snow up, snow piles up, and move them somewhere else, we would coordinate with the contractor.
Okay, thank you. Next question. The following email question was asked. Who is responsible for ensuring that no damage is done to private property and property is restored to its original condition? Is there a performance bond backing this obligations? Sean, do you want to take this question?
Yeah, so it'll be part of the contractor's contract that any private property that is disturbed will be required to restore to the original condition. I guess, Steve, do you have something to add for performance bond?
Yeah, usually so the district, Connecticut DOT district MSAT group, which is the construction group that will be day-to-day involved with the project, as well as the consultant inspection team will be on site every day the contractor is working. So those two, really teammates will be making sure that the contractor performs the work per the design plans, and that's part of the contract. But the design plans indicate where work is limited to, and if any work occurs beyond those limits, the contractor is required to restore those, as is any of the work within the limits too. But per the contract, contractor has to work within the project limits. Otherwise, he needs to work out a separate rights of way negotiation with private property owners, and typically that doesn't happen.
Okay, thank you. Next question. Another email question was asked. Who will maintain the private grass, trees, etc. within the barrier? Will landscapers have access? Will the mature trees be affected? Sean, do you want to take this question?
Yeah, so the contractor will be responsible for the area within the construction site. Typically, public is not allowed within that construction area due to safety. So they would be responsible for maintaining any areas. And again, as previously noted, if there's disturbance to any private property, it would be restored. Regarding the mature trees affected, there is a potential for some minor impacts to the mature trees in order to install the outlet protection at the existing outlet pipe, which is to the east of the bridge. Currently, there's a storm pipe that outlets into a slope shown right here. So that outlet apron will be installed to eliminate any potential eroding in the future.
Okay. Next question. The following email question was asked. Will security be provided to assure that workers do not trespass, eat, sleep, or park on private property? Sean, do you want to take this question? And maybe the town wants to weigh in as well?
Yeah, so typically for this construction project, we would have a construction inspection team that would be brought on through the state and town. They will be acting as a representative of the department and the town. So they would help oversee these concerns.
This is Jonathan Louise, Town Administrator. In addition, the town will participate in regular meetings on site. So we will be able to see any evidence of people eating and leaving behind trash or anything like that. If the site's messy, we would also tell people to clean it up. But again, with the continual presence of the inspection services on site, I think that's the chances of them doing those things are very, very low. And if they did, they'd be told. We would learn of it very quickly from the folks that are going to be inspecting on site on a continual basis, and we'd address it immediately.
Thank you, John and Sean. Next question. The following email question was asked. Who is responsible for making sure construction debris, food, etc., is kept off of private property. And I think that's more the same of the previous question that was asked. I think it's pretty much answered. It will be, you know, the construction inspection team. I don't know, it's probably the same team that is in charge of making sure that workers, etc., are not trespassing, as was asked previously. So I'll go on to the next question. The following email question was asked: who is the proper contact once construction begins that is reachable to deal with any issues? Sean, do you want to take this question?
Yeah, so as the design progresses, I mean, again, right now we're in a preliminary design. So as the design progresses and a construction inspection team is brought on board, we can share and coordinate with the town any contact information for the residents.
Once construction begins again, or anytime people have questions, but when the construction begins, if people have those concerns, especially that were mentioned on site, people can email me immediately. You can show maybe my email on the screen again. Call me on my phone. Email is probably best, and I would work on the issue as soon as I receive it.
Okay, thank you, John and Sean. And another question. The following email question was asked: will the stonework on the bridge be preserved? Sean, I think this was kind of answered already, but you can reinstate what you said previously.
So the existing stone itself will not be preserved. It would be a difficult process in order to remove that stone and to reattach it to the new structure. But the proposed structure will have a similar stone facade. Again, there's multiple options with being either stone cladding or the concrete form liner to have that similar stone appearance.
Okay, thank you, Sean. All right. As of right now, we don't have any more questions coming in, but we will give it another minute or two if you guys would like to ask any more questions. Please don't hesitate to call in with questions. Again, our phone number is 860-944-1111. Or you can email us at dot-flbp@ct.gov, or feel free to use that chat function on Teams. Also, while we are waiting for questions to come in, I would like to remind everyone again that this whole presentation, including the Q&A session, will be recorded and will be posted to YouTube following this event. The recording will also be made available on the link that's shown on the project webpage as well. Okay, it looks like, ladies and gentlemen, we are no longer receiving any more questions, so I'm going to take this opportunity to start wrapping up. I would like to encourage you all to take the survey on the link that's shown on the Teams chat box. And for those of you watching on YouTube, the survey is below the video. This would greatly help us improve this virtual meeting experience in the future. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the department and the town of Weston, I would like to thank you for joining us tonight, and we hope that you found this meeting informative and that we were able to answer all your questions. All of us on the design team and the town are always available to answer any questions, even outside of the posted comment period, which is February 9th for this project. We are also willing to meet you individually on the project site if you so desire. Once again, thank you and have a wonderful evening.